Our Shot of the Eagle, Alcaniz, 1809. This is Alia, Spanish magazine war game. This is a Napoleonic battle scale scope. Alright, I'm already into the third turn. So basically, the French army here of 4 formations under Suchet, they come on the map on this road, the road to Hyar, off this way. North is, there's the north seeking arrow, so that's north that way. Okay, French army comes on the board during turn 1 through this road. So what I did is, real quickly, what I'm doing is I'm actually trying to follow the historical flow of the battle until some time where the randomness of combat or some other game function throws me off. But right now I'm coming on these formations, one here, 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 and a fourth one over here. I'm having them follow what I understand to be the historical flow of the battle. So so this formation over here under, I think that's Laval, is heading over to attack the Spanish right over there, here. Okay, so by scenario rules, all the French formations start with defend orders, and all of the French commands or formations start with maneuver orders. So that brings me to the first thing that I missed completely. What I missed is at the defend order. Since all the Spanish formations start with a defend order, let me read real quickly and then I'll tell you what I did, but this is what I completely forgot. All counters associated with the units with this order, the defend order, must defend an area the player designates that his side controls at the moment the order is written. Now the French aren't even on the board at the start of the battle, so that means anywhere on the map. This defensive area measures 9 hexes across and 5 hexes deep from a certain hex designated by the player. So in effect what that means is you designate a hex like that, and if it's 9 wide, that means you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to each side. That's 9 all the way across. 2 hexes forward, 2 hexes back, that's 5 hexes across. So that oval is the defensive area for the defend order. Completely forgot that. Okay. The units with this order cannot leave their defensive area. Within the defensive area, the counters defend and attack normally. So what I did to make it easy, and it worked out, is that I just started, so in the notes where I jotted down that the Spanish formations, and without trying too hard to get their pronunciations right, Ibarola here, Roca here, Lausanne here, and oh my hard one, Arizaga up here. What I did is I just made the center hex, so call it center mass hex of the defensive area, where the leader starts. So here and here and here and here, and it all worked out. So I went ahead and jotted down the hex ID. Hex IDs in this battle are a letter and a number. So I jotted down the hex numbers for the center mass. That was the first thing I missed. Then, important, very important, when the French came on the board for the first 2 turns, I had them come on in big, not big stacks, but they were all stacked 2 or 3 units to a hex. I wanted them all to just move on really compactly, so I had stacks of 2 or 3 units per hex each. Yeah, I completely got that wrong. So I'm thrown off by the fact that the rules do say that there is no hard and fast unit per hex stacking rule. But the problem is, and what I forgot, is that there are specific exceptions. Okay, so there are specific exceptions. By the way, they all make sense. I should have remembered, but I just didn't. Okay, so there's an exception for infantry and square. That makes sense. And then there's an exception for units with maneuver orders, which applies here. There's an exception for units in woods and buildings. And then finally there's a limit, meaning, well, there's a prohibition, which is an exception, to Spanish and English units stacking together in the same hex. So the one that applies to me, very important, is units with maneuver orders. Like I said before, all of the French formations come on the board with maneuver orders. So that means that they all started with the exception, which is a limit to the number of strength points that you can put in each hex for units with maneuver orders. And it's really easy. It's 8 for infantry, 4 for cavalry. What that means is almost every stack had to be broken up. And what I did is I just unstacked back towards the start of the start point for the French. So all of these stacks were unstacked because, you know, I had 6 and 6 for a total of 12 here. Can't have that, so I took one of the 6s and put it back. I had 7 and 5. Yeah, so that wasn't going to work. So all of these units, almost all of them, were unstacked. We do have a oh, and these are cavalry, so the limit is 4, but I've got a 1 and a 3 here stacked together for a total of 4, which is fine. Suchet back here is stacked with 1 infantry and 4 infantry strengths for a total of 5. That's fine. So anyways, that's what made me unstack all of my units there. Yeah, I guess that's that. And then I wanted to talk about the orders. This is something that I do not think of in Hex and Counter War games, but this is probably not uncommon in miniatures rules. So there are 6 orders. Now one is no orders or without orders. They do consider that one of the orders. So other than no orders, you've got maneuver, harassment, attack, defend, and retreat. Let me see. 2 of them, harassment and attack, have a certain percentage clause in them. So harassment up to 30%, so I'll just say a third of the counters. So it's counters, it's by unit counter. Up to a third can enter into combat with enemy units, and up to 50% or up to half of units can enter into combat with enemy units with attack orders. That, by the way, is pretty interesting. Like I said, I just don't think of that. So you can't go all out with these, you know, monster attacks involving every single unit of a formation at the same time. I mean, that's what that tells me. You need to work your way up to attack orders, or start at attack orders, and even then you're only attacking or entering into combat with up to a half of your units. That is really interesting. And again, I don't think of that for a Hex and Counter War game.